Hello guys, it's Glenn to have introduce of Huawei's version 3 servers management software, the iBMC. And now we can start it. And first of all, we have to open our browser and log in from the system. And here I will show it to use the HTTPS and type into the management IP address and connect to the system. And here we choose continue to this website. Okay, here is the login web of the Huawei's iBMC, and we can see here and type into the username and the password. Okay, and the login. Okay, now we log into the system, and you can first of all you can see some basic information of the system, include of the server's name and the series number, the management IP, and also the iBMC's soft version. And also at the top of it, there have some button of different kinds of applications. At the left side is the subfunctions for these items, and the right side is the alarm and the user's information. Also at below you can see here have some virtual button to turn off and turn down the system. And after this is the common operation shortcuts, and you can connect to some basic and frequently to use the buttons from here. At the list is the engine saving state, and you can see how much engine you're saving and what about the saving powers when you use the Huawei server. Okay, we go ahead and the component information. And in these items, you can see some information for hardware, include of almost all the hardware states. And we can see some example here. The mainboard information. You can see here all the information about the mainboard. And also the NIC card, the port states and the MAC address, processors. Okay, you can see all of the processors here, the module and the clock speed and the vendors. Okay, go ahead, the real-time monitor. For these functions, you can see your internal temperatures, and it shows every for each 2 hours, and also it will test and check for per 10 minutes. And the sensor. Okay, you can see the thread sensor and the discrete sensor. Okay, and the next function button is alarm and cell, and you can see the current alarm. And here, because of for our server, it's just connected to power cables. So here have some power alarm, and you can see the date here and the type of the alarm and the events log. And for this item, you can have a filter of the different kind of the events. For example, maybe the event is too much for you and you can't find some details which you want, and you can choose and search from here. For example, the fan, and search. Okay, here is no any available because of the fan is working okay, and the power supply with the critical, and you can see here have some with the power supply critical, and also you can filter it by the date. Yeah, maybe within the 2 weeks or within some hours alarm sighting. And here you can choose how to check your alarm state, and you can use the SMP to check your alarm, and also you can set some port here, and you can get an email about the system alarm, and you can monitor and control your system from the remote, even if you stay at home or out of office. If just that you can get an email, the state of the state is under your control, and you can set the SMTP server's reference, and also the email address here, and also you can set some titles to separate different servers and systems, and you can choose what kind of alarm you want to. Maybe for the normal and the mirror is we can ignore it. Okay, dig note. And it provides some functions to let you double check and recheck your states, to use the playback functions, and screenshot to shot the screen of your system, and you can see by default it will have a screenshot for each the last time when you operating on your servers. And the black box by default it's disabled, and it have some storage of your file operatings and serial port date. The same with the black box, you can turn on and turn off it and download the state. Fault diagnosis logs, and you can get the report by CPUs. And memory writer hot swap. By default, this function is disabled, and you have to turn on it on your BIOS firstly, and then you can choose one of Then you can choose one of your button and choose the destination one and click the migrate, and then you can wait here and wait the system to migrate the date from one to another one. Power button, and the basic is the power control. You can turn on, turn off, or forcibly to turn off the power. Okay, here's some basic functions. And for power, you can check the state of your power and how many power you cost and how many you saved, and the current power states. Okay, also here have two kinds of ways to show it. One is by BTU per hour, another is by watt. Okay, here is the state for your equipment, and also check every 10 minutes and show it every 2 hours. The engine saving settings. By default, here is just within the normal state, and also when you set some parameters, you have to know here should be have a balance between the engine saving and the system performance. So it's decided what kind of business you will use on your server, and is it busy all the time, or is have some empty times to need to save the engines. It's decided by users, but for Huawei to provide the operating available to operating it. Okay, config and to set the user's policy, and you can see here you can add users and set some policy for users and what his user can be do here. And by default there have only one user, is the root user, and with the administrator privilege. And it also supports the LDAP functions, but by default it's turned off. Network settings, you can set the management network, and it supports both of IPv4 and IP version 6. And also you can choose which card and which port, and set the DNS if you want to get it from the internet. And also support to set the VLAN, the port setting. And all of this port by default is use the default port number, and you can choose if the number is conflict with your systems, and you can change any of them. System settings, and for SNMP for tracking, and the alarm threshold, and some other mode of the rate. Boot options, you can choose which equipment you want to boot from at the beginning when the server is booting, and SSL certificate. Okay, next one, system. And you can check different kinds of logs for the system. Also you can download it for the logs, operation logs, run logs, security logs, and the work record. Because of this server, everything is empty, so here is nothing for the work record. And the online users, I think, yeah, here is only one, which is I login by the root user. And the firmware upgrade. And first you have to download the firmware from Huawei support website, and then import it and click start update, and the system will refresh the new one. Yeah. For remote control, and the function is about the remote KVM. You can control and connect the server by remote KVM. You can turn on it, turn off it, and also do some daily operating, like you use the physical KVM, but the difference is just you connect it by the network, not stay in your site. Before that, you have to install the Java. Okay, now we connect to the server, and here has operating system on the servers, and you can choose. Here have a mouse, you can choose everything, and inject the CD, and also to get the mouse control and full screen. And here you can use some mix component keyboard, for example, click here and reboot the system. Yeah, I think. Okay, and something else is, if here the information is not updated, you can click the refresh to update the information which you just did for the system. And also if something you not clearly, you can, for example, I'm not sure about here the operating logs, and you can click here the help. It will get some information about the current web and you can get how to use it and what it means. Also, for this management software, we have a user guide, and I will send it with the email. And I think it's more details and more clearly. You can get everything from the document, and also it's welcome. And please feel free to connect with me if you have any more questions. Thanks to you all. Bye. Have a nice day.